Hey guys, I'm Chance Waters and you're watching the AU Review. So the song is called The Ticket Inspector, and the tour is called, I think it's called A Ticket Inspector Beat Up My Brothers, so I wrote a funny song about him. I think that's probably it, it's something like that, which is also the story behind the song. Yeah, my brother had a run-in with a ticket inspector and it didn't end well for my brother, and then I thought, hey, maybe I should do a kind of Canterbury Tales thing and I guess, write this guy a kind of love song, and so that's what I did. And yeah, I tried to be very descriptive and talk about how awesome he was, and that's the song.
How has the response been?
Yeah, been really good. I don't think we've ever had this much kind of talk around the concept of a song or talk around the name of a tour ever. Like, I remember the first day we sent out the press release, it was kind of like every single person, from everywhere was posting about like the extremely long tour name and all that kind of stuff. And so that's been really fun. And I just think it's a quirky sort of idea and thing to dedicate a tour to. It actually came about because we didn't know what to call the tour, and the song wasn't out yet, so the Ticket Inspector wasn't out, and we were like, how do we start this tour for this single that nobody has even heard yet? And so then I thought, well, why don't we explain what the song is in the tour name, and then that's how we got to that.
And in that little bit of genius, now it's all happening.
Yeah. Well, genius is I don't know.
Well, genius finds itself in strange places.
Yeah, a very strange place in that instance then.
So that tour's taking you around the country?
Yeah, so we're doing kind of all the major cities, well, if you can call Canberra a major city, but unfortunately we're missing out on WA and Tasmania this time, but I think we'll go through and do those. We'll hit Tasmania on the album tour, and we'll probably do a separate WA run, and then I want to do a regional tour.
So let's talk about the album. What's the lifespan for the year looking like? When are we going to be seeing this happen?
Well, it's pretty much done now. So it's basically finished, but we haven't kind of had the chat about when we're actually going to release it, whether we're going to do another single first or anything like that, or whether we even want to kind of still add more content to it. But there's an album kind of sitting there that is basically finished. And so now it's just about kind of discussing how we're going to release it and what we want to do and whether we want to drip feed anything more or just get straight into it. So I don't actually know the schedule or anything yet, but this year there'll be a new Chance Waters record.
And another tour and...
Yeah, well, a couple. And my first ever overseas writing trips as well, which I'm doing, which I'm looking forward to.
Can you tell us about that?
So I know I'm going to there's this once a year thing in Bali where they get together, I think it's like 10 artists and 10 producers and 10 songwriters, and they throw them all together into this camp over, I think it's the space of a week, and you kind of write a song with a different group every day. I'm doing that, and then from there I'm going to the UK, and I'm going to be working with people in Red Bull Studios and the Universal Studios, which should be really fun in the UK. And then from there I think I'm going to another writing trip. It's either in Norway or Sweden, I'm not actually sure, but I'm really excited. I've never been to Europe at all, so I'm going to try to do some day trips, like catch a train to various places and stuff.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
You got a busy year ahead.
Yeah, I think so.
Does it sort of feel like everything in the last few years, everything that you've worked for, it's all sort of coming together? Is that,
Yeah, it's been really good. I mean, the past year has been the first year where I've just been able to focus on my music full time as opposed to worrying about other things, and so that's been a huge kind of change. It brings with it a lot of pressure as well, but it's really nice just being able to work on the projects that I want to work on and being able to execute them and stuff. And I've been working really closely with my producer, One Above, and that's been a really nice relationship over the past year too, kind of making this record. So yeah, it's been a really nice year.
In terms of songs that are coming out later in the year, I mean, is there anything? I mean, the Ticket Inspector story, is that atypical at all about the way that you're writing songs at the moment? Is your brother now going to think anytime anything goes wrong, his brother's going to write a song about it?
Well, I have some ideas for songs that are kind of in a similar sort of vein, but I don't think on this record there's too much stuff like that, too many of those really direct stories. But I definitely, there's a lot of songs I've written from a kind of personal experience space, and I guess they, that kind of shares that thing. And I'm always very sarcastic, and I think I'm always quite bittersweet in the way I approach songs. So, a lot of that is typical across the record.
And the music video, can you talk a bit about that? Who came up with that concept?
I think I came up with the a very initial concept, and then my manager suggested Akmal, and then the director James kind of put together the full screenplay and everything like that. He's a genius. He's worked really hard on all of my last kind of clips, and he's a really interesting guy, and I think he just nailed this one. And it was so fun working with Akmal as well. I don't think he knew what he got himself into. He knew, he was doing this shit with us. He really loved the song. He was excited about doing it, and he knew he was there for 2 days, but I don't think he knew he'd be sprinting non-stop for 2 days. And I think that was the most physical activity he's, done in his entire life over that time period. I mean, I couldn't walk for like 3 days after the clip, and I had to do maybe 1/4 of the running that he did, and I didn't have any of those gym scenes. At one point, he bit me on the ear, which was very intimate. When he was wrestling me on the ground. I think that's in the clip. Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, good times.
But maybe less running in your next clip.
I want more. I think I've only gotten a taste for it. I think my next clip is just going to be all running. Or maybe again hire some poor celebrity who doesn't know what they're getting into and then get them to run the whole time.
You'll have to come up with some word for that. Instead of being punked, it's something.
Yeah. Well, runked.
Runked.
Yeah.
Or just you've been chanced. You've been chanced.
Yeah, I love that too.